Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to 5 Minute Bitcoin, where we onboard the masses 5 minutes at a time so you don't have to. That's right. If you've got friends and family who are arguing with you about Bitcoin, just send them to me. Tell them to start at episode number 1. Anyway, as we said in the last episode, we're going to start our series this week on the virtues of Bitcoin. Virtue number 1, according to Bitcoin.com. I love quoting them. Bitcoin is permissionless. Permissionless. What does that mean? Well, according to Bitcoin.com, well, at least their little quip about being permissionless says that with the exception of paper cash, something that is increasingly rare as the world continues to go digital, traditional currencies require permission to use. This means that third parties like banks, financial institutions, and governments stand between you and your money. Hate to break it to you guys, but it's not your money. We'll talk about that in a future video. Now, what does all of this mean? Well, honestly, you ain't seen nothing yet until they come out with the CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies, which are on their way, and they will replace cash. And their control over you will be far greater than you can ever imagine. They will be able to choose whether or not to allow you to participate in society and buy groceries and buy a house or buy a car or go to this concert or buy that trinket or that bauble based upon things, or possibly based upon things like your contribution to society, your philosophical and political ideologies, your behavior, your purchasing tendencies. In other words, they will be able to monitor what kind of house you buy, what kind of car you buy, what kind of food you're buying, whether or not you're buying a gun or not, and so forth and so on. But you haven't seen anything yet. Wait till these central bank digital currencies come out. And oh, by the way, if your behavior isn't to their liking, it is much more easy for them to cut off your digital currency than it is to come and take your cash. They can actually do both, but it's easier if it's digital. Why is Bitcoin different? Well, Bitcoin requires no permission from anyone. There is no intermediary. There is no bank. There is no government. There is no entity whatsoever that can prevent you from using Bitcoin. It is free and open to use globally. Globally. In other words, there's no borders. There's no limits. You can use Bitcoin anywhere. It's better than cash. It's actually easier than cash. All right, let me give you an example of what I mean. I was at the Louvre in Paris, and there was a musician sitting outside playing some kind of a Chinese harp. And it was soothing, and it was just perfectly fitting for the atmosphere of the day. And people were relaxing, and it was a quiet, shady spot. And this young lady was playing I don't know what kind of instrument it was, a traditional Chinese, harp. And in front of her, she had a tip jar. Yeah, well, in France, there's all kinds of currencies going around in Europe. And she was obviously Asian, so I don't know if she was an exchange student. Maybe possibly she was going to go back. I don't know. But next to her tip jar, she had a little sign that said, "Tip me in Bitcoin." And she had her little QR code with her Lightning Network address on it. And there were people tipping her with Bitcoin. And I noticed that it was actually quicker because with the Lightning Network app, all you've got to do is just scan her QR code and punch in how much you want to tip, and boom, it's done. So, and it was contactless. In other words, there was no touching of a dirty dollar bill or anything like that. There was none of that. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is the first virtue of Bitcoin. I'm a little bit over on my time here, so I'm going to close it up and say that if you are arguing with your friends and family over the virtues of Bitcoin, just simply give them a link to my channel and tell them to start at episode number 1. And we'll go down the rabbit hole together 5 minutes at a time. But in the meantime, if you've gotten any information or if you've gleaned anything positive from this episode or any previous episode, please consider clicking the thumbs up, clicking that subscribe tab, and ticking the little bell for updates when I upload future videos. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Frederick Mann. This is 5 Minute Bitcoin. And I'm going to remind you once again to dollar cost average, HODL, and self-custody. God bless you.